start from the end. The last pass, you were in the vicinity.
Oh, yeah.
It seemed like if it was caught, it was going to be a first down anyway.
Yeah, I didn't know about the routes really. I know Mosley showed like he was blitzing, so I had to take him. It was an empty protection. We only had 5 blockers. They brought 6 or 7 rushers, 6 I think. I had my hands on him. He kind of jumped up, tipped it to himself. I wasn't really sure where the ball deflected. I heard it deflect. He made a great play. You know, I don't know what the routes were doing behind it, but
Duke was behind him, but
okay.
he was before the marker.
Yeah, they brought 0 blitz in the last 3 plays. You know, had to get it out of his hands quick, and Mosley made a great play.
Is there just not enough time to send a guy to the end zone streaking downfield?
Yeah, not when they bring more than we can block. It's 0 blitz. They're hoping their coverage holds up for 2 seconds. You know.
Joel, what changed with the offensive line? I mean, you guys struggled early, and then Gray moves into left tackle. You guys kept Baker pretty clean. I don't think you actually allowed a sack yesterday again. But.
Yeah, it was. I think it's a combination of things. You know, I think the O-line stepped up and won more of their one-on-one battles. I think Baker improved as the season went on getting the ball out, on getting us in the right play, on throwing the ball away when he had to instead of trying to take the chance every time. I think the running backs and tight ends did a better job of chipping. I think Freddie called better plays. I think it was just a combination of everything. And when you give up a bunch of sacks, it's not always the O-line's fault on everything. And when you protect all the time, it's not always the O-line's fault. I mean, credit doesn't always go all to the O-line. And it was a group effort, you know. But I think Greg did a great job coming in there. I think Chubb improved as the season went on. And I think our continuity as an O-line really improved as the weeks went on as well.
Do you think Greg can be the left tackle moving forward?
Yeah, I think this 8-game sample was pretty impressive for him. You know, he I think he improved throughout the time. I think he showed why he was the second overall pick. You know, he's athletic, he's strong. He has more tools than any of the other linemen we have on this team. You know, him and Des both actually.
Yeah.
If he can continue to push himself, and if he does re-sign here, which I hope they do. He just still has that mentality of trying to prove himself. I think he'll be fine.
What's the future for this team?
I think it looks bright. I think we have to work to it. I think it's not just going to be given now that, we have some expectations. But I think we have cornerstone pieces here. I think you see a couple draft classes where you have the number 1 overall pick, number 4 pick, and they're hit so far. You never know what's going to happen. But when you have a quarterback, everything else kind of gets a little bit easier. And you found that. Now we have to find the right coach. But I think it's going to be fun. I think we have a lot to look forward to. You have a week or 2 to reflect, then you get back into it, and you really try and improve yourself so you can help the team come fall next year.
Hey, Joel, you mentioned continuity before. How do you think guys would feel if this coaching staff remained intact and brought back?
Yeah, I think if Dorsey makes that decision, I think the guys here are going to ride with it. We're here to play the game, and whatever coach they put in front of us, we're gonna try and fight for them. We fought for Greg these last 8 games, and it's a credit to him. He did a heck of a job, coming in. That's a tough spot to be put into, and for him to come into that and do the things he did, it was pretty impressive. And we're gonna be ready to play for whoever they bring in here.
Joel, did Dorsey address the team today?
Individually, we each person met with him, individually.
Dorsey said today that Freddie was going to interview for the head coach too. I mean, do you see some leadership qualities in Freddie that he could be ready for that?
Yeah, he's a little bit younger. He hasn't been in that role, as a really leader of a guy. But like I said, the last 8 games for him has been impressive. Our offense has definitely improved. He's made some great calls, and I think he's going to be a hot coaching candidate for an OC job at the minimum. So. He's someone you have to take a look at. I know Dorsey. I've trusted Dorsey and everything he's done so far, and it's looked pretty good. So we're gonna kind of roll with him and see what he does when he hires his coach.
Joel, disappointed that those guys aren't that?
It's a business. That's above my pay grade on making those decisions. We've obviously built relationships. It's one of the toughest things in this business is losing players, losing coaches, losing teammates. Because it's a business, you go to work every day and you don't know who's going to be there necessarily. It's one of those things that there's always a little bit of frustration when that stuff happens, but it's part of that business. And like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it. We trust Dorsey, we trust this staff upstairs to make the right decisions for us and put us in the right position to win.
You know, what a big deal of the Browns not calling timeout prior to 4th down.
Before they punted.
No.
Oh,
at the end of the
oh,
game.
before we.
Before-
Oh,
For the
okay.
last
I
pass.
think the sideline had a good handle on the situation. They were through this for the first time too.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought we were making good play calls. You know, we're kind of in a rhythm. We obviously had a few incomplete passes there, but if we would have got a first down, you know, they still wanted to have a timeout to maybe take a shot or do something else, but we didn't have to rely on the kicking game. Yeah, I honestly hadn't even thought about calling a timeout there. If they would have, I wouldn't have had an issue with it either. You know, I think in the heat of the moment, you just kind of make the decision and kind of fill it out.
When Greg became the head coach, how often did you guys, both in your room and on the offense, wind up seeing him? How much hands-on did he become with the other side of the ball?
Yeah, so we saw him for our team meetings and at practice. He never came into like the offensive room and said he's putting in his scheme or anything like that. He stayed with the defense, but he talked to us as a team as much as Coach Jackson did. So a few times a week at team meetings, and then before the games and at practices, he was always there.
With us, he, you know, we saw what he was like with his defensive guys. You know, in terms of language and intensity before he was on Hard Knocks, and everybody saw it. But you know, did he kind of turn up the heat for you guys in the meetings? Or did he tone it down a little bit after he became head coach?
From what I saw, how he dealt with the defensive guys, I think he toned it down a little bit. He was very more the leader of the team instead of one position group at that point, and he had a clear message. You know, he was concise, clear message, but we were all on the same page. We knew what he wanted, we knew what we were going to get from him, and that's all you can really ask for in a coach.
Greg Robinson said early on that you were helping him out a lot. Did you notice him kind of needing less help as the season went on?
Yeah, I think the first few games he hadn't started in a while, and I had to be there for him to kind of lean on if he needed no play. But as the season went on, he improved, you know, knowing what to do. And that's a testament to him putting in the work and understanding, hey, you know, I can learn this on my own. And it's really been impressive to see his turnaround. And like I said, hopefully he takes it serious this offseason and he's, you know, wherever he ends up, hopefully back here. But, you know, he's in a great position to help that team, hopefully our team.
Can you tell, like with Freddie as an example, can you tell if a coordinator's going to be able to make that leap to head coach? Because, you know, when you have to lead all 53 as opposed to just one side of the ball.
He's very relatable. You know, we talked about Baker being the guy that everybody in the locker room kind of related to. Freddie's kind of that guy too. You know, he's been around the block even though he's not too old, and he's a fun personality to be around. You know, and I think if he was put in that position, I think the players would rally around him.
In terms of Mayfield, whether you want to call face of the organization or the leader of the locker, how does that kind of express itself with you guys? I mean, in your mind, do you even think about you need a quarterback to be the leader of the team, or is it something you don't even think about?
You know, in this era, you need a quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and he is the face of our team. He's what our team's going to run on for hopefully the next 10 or 15 years. You got to find that franchise quarterback in this league, and I think we found that. Obviously, he knows he needs to improve on some stuff, and he's working at that. I already know he's going to come back better next year, but he's the guy you want in your corner, and I'm happy he's here in Cleveland.
What are the most impressive aspects of his rookie season for you guys?
I would say his bounce back mentality. You know, I mean, even last night when you throw 3 picks in a game, usually you don't have a chance to win. We obviously didn't win, but we had a chance last night. You know, I thought when we got the ball back, I was like, we're going to go down and score. You know, I had that feeling, and the way he connects with all the players. You know, if we're having a bad practice, he's something you can kind of point to and pull from, and he brings that energy for this team. But he learns too. I mean, he's improved tremendously from when he first started, and I'm happy he's on our side.
Do you think about if he would have had the first team reps in training camp and I mean,
Yeah, it's
as
something.
good as he was, what it could have been?
Yeah, it's something you definitely look back on. You know, because he definitely did improve when he got more reps as the season went on, and if maybe he got those earlier in camp, it could have been improvement even earlier. But it is what it is. I mean, we're out here, and when he got his chance, he showed what he could be.
Joe, what was his demeanor in the huddle when you started that last drive at the, I don't know, what it was, 12, 20 or something?
Yeah, he was ready to go. Same as it's been. You know, he was focused. he was ready. He was telling us to hold up, and he'd make something happen. And we were. We got there. We got almost into field goal range, and we came up a few yards short.
I think it was Greg Williams who mentioned it got a little emotional in the locker room last night. Is that typical for the end of the season? Compare that to the others.
Yeah, it's pretty typical. You put in all this work. You work with 53 different guys, and the coaches put in time, and it just kind of comes to a head, especially when you lose the way we lost last night. You want it to be different, and you understand there's going to be some changes. So it's part of the business, and I think every year there's a different reason to be emotional. But you put your heart into this game. We love this game. It might not seem like that, but we play. We have fun with it, and when you don't finish where you want to finish, there's always something to say about, dang, this kind of didn't finish the way we wanted.
With the way that the season went, the way you guys kind of rallied amongst yourselves, you say that could have changed the remake, just because maybe you won't be able to play with some of these guys next year.
Yeah, every year you have a turnover. We've had big turnovers, but you never know when it's your last rep with somebody. You just don't know that. And so you go in the locker room, I can guarantee you this 53-man roster won't be the same one as next year. You're going to draft guys, you're going to sign guys in free agency. It's just what happens. And so you build something special with these guys over a 24-week period, and it's tough to see it come to an end.
Wouldn't it be something, you'd be surprised, wouldn't you, if it's as big a turnover as you've had the last couple of years?
Yeah, we still have 10 draft picks, though. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
There's still going to be guys that come into this. We still have $80 million in cap space. Like, there's always room to improve the roster. And so there's definitely going to be some turnover. You always want to improve, and I don't think upper management's going to sit there and be like, we're good enough now, because we're not. We got to keep improving.
Is it disappointing at all that Nick had the 1,000 yards and then doesn't finish with the 1,000 yards for him and the line?
Yeah, I'm crushed for him, man, personally. Like, I thought we had it. Obviously, we didn't run the ball quite as much as we could have. I think he had 9 or 10 rushes. We wish we could have got it for him. And it's not just one game, If he would have, he didn't start till week 7, I think. So we just told him we have to get him 2,000 next year, jokingly. But no, he's a special guy, man, and he will never say it to us. But I think it crushed him a little bit last night. He's going to put in the work, though, and he's going to be a good back for us for the foreseeable future.
Oh, he had it and he lost it, though, in that one big loss.
Yeah. I didn't realize that till after the game, obviously, but that's a tough way to go out.
He just didn't seem to be a part of the game plan. Is it just the way the game evolves?
Yeah, they have some big boys inside, and I think their goal is to shut down the run, and I think Baker was having some success throwing the ball, so it kind of lent that way, and we had a chance to win. We scored 26 points. Missed a field goal, could have had 29. We were right there in there. We didn't run the ball great, but we still had a chance to win, and sometimes that's going to happen.
Joel, is this the most positive you felt after a season?
Yeah.
Looking ahead to
Yeah, I feel like this is the highest note we finished on. I know we won 7 games my rookie year, but we were kind of on a down trot towards the end of that season. I still had some confidence going into the next year, and every year you feel that emotional of like, hey, we're going to get it next year. But this year you really see the pieces are in place to try and make a run next year. So it's pretty motivating.